UK area, picking up Primza and Prodigy. And let me just tell you, Wars is like 200k earned in this scene, and I am always watching for what kind of weapon he's going to be dropping for like the next kind of OP gun in his loadout. So I'm constantly adjusting things, but look at this, Goj. We are finally ready to jump into our first map of the day.
I love it. We got FIFA Kill on the screen. I was talking a little bit with FIFA Kill before. I mentioned that their strat is highly aggressive start, get your guns as fast as possible, then smart rotation. So we'll try to listen into their comms as much as we can. I think this is a fun team to watch because when they lock in, they truly lock in. Comms are immaculate. They're going full speed, but they also have incredible vibes. Everybody's there for a good time, but they're all winners through and through. Probably combined the most earned in this title with, I think, $1 million earned all combined together, or at least very, very close to that, Tiff.
All right. I mean, that's pretty wild. I think FIFA on stream today was talking about being one of the luckiest people. He was out there playing with Maven, and it was really interesting. They were talking about kind of March Madness and if they should put a bracket together for basketball and FIFA. It's like, bro, I don't really watch any kind of sports. I have no idea what y'all are talking about. He doesn't even watch football, which would be soccer over there, y'all. I got you. I got you.
Yeah, there you go. We got to help everybody out. Who knows where people are tuning in from? Again, we've got pretty much every single region represented. Moonride, shout out Moonride, our Italian squad at the top here. Team number one, a team to watch out for. They've got some experience competing and of course, playing a ton of Warzone. That's Moonride, Barry, and Czech. So keep an eye out for our Italian squads as well. Jesus has joined our Mexico team down at the bottom, but we'll see what they're able to do as well. So far, fairly aggressive to start. Decent weapons. I mean, Tiff, right now, it looks like FIFA Skills trying to play the outside, making sure they can grab anybody that tries to evade their aggressive push here, while Aydan and Soka play together, which I don't mind at all.
Yeah, typically you're like, hey, will someone split off from this? It's not like typical 2v2s where maybe you'll run split until you burn your gulag and then kind of join back up. You will likely always play alongside your team or relatively nearby them, kind of creating like a Bermuda Triangle-esque style. You want to keep aggressive and stay apprised of the situation, scumming, kind of laying low, chilling, trying to reunite up with Rated and Rational. But that's the thing, is you have to pay attention going into all of these POIs. We're out here in Tarak Village and everything's kind of broken down, right? But people can pop up out of absolutely nowhere. I've noticed since moving into kind of Al Mazrah, it's turned into more of a horror game than anything for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of different avenues to be shot from, and this is one of the things that we should talk about a little bit here, Tiff. Is of course this trio will be fun to watch. Scumming and Rated have done a lot more 2v2s as of recent, with Unrational kind of shifting to a bit more content forward. But this trio will have a lot of highly aggressive comms, and as long as they can kind of stay composed, definitely a trio that could take it all today. But strongholds is going to be key to success, right? You want your loadout as fast as possible. You want to grab your hemlock and maybe lock them in sub or otherwise as soon as you can. And those strongholds are a very easy way to get that without too much effort. And as long as it's not contested, a great spot to pursue in order to grab your weapons and have a strong early game. And speaking of a strong and fast early game, look at this already. Early fights going back and forth as Swagg back into the competition scene. He's got a great squad around him with the Vibe King, the Sock King, Exact there as well, still alive.
Not yet. I didn't grab my loadie. Wait, one slide far right.
Has not grabbed their loadie yet. Calm's coming through, but you're just in Al Mazrah City. It's a very highly contested POI. I'd imagine that a bunch of teams kind of came here. You saw them pick up an opening elim, now going in for the loadout, grabbing that MP5 in a sense. You know, Lockman, SMG, a lot of people are like, this is what I kind of want to go with. As long as I can get my MP5, I'm going to feel really confident.
Yeah, Lockman's really strong just from a movement standpoint, pretty strong at a close range fight, and given that shotguns and LMGs are banned, that Hemlock is most likely going to be the primary choice for most people. Very strong AR that has decent range. Exact goes down. Now, this is the classic strat. Throw a smoke and maybe go for the res. Swagg baiting it is so incredibly 5-head. It doesn't matter, though. Push through the smoke. Here comes Aydan. Cleans up the kill on Swagg. Great effort, and honestly, I like the strategy there, Tiff, but it's a tough fight to win when Aydan comes slinging around the corner at Mach 10.
Look, I know how that is. I've seen that happen to me in Twitch Rivals. I've been on the other side of it, and I don't recommend it in any way, shape, or form. But WAG, in the gulag against Almighty, TJ, need to position yourself really well. You'll typically see lethals going out for some information. You can see snapshot their way, opening shots, but unfortunately that jump and aim is just going to be too much for WAG. They still do have one member left standing, but we talk about regains, right? This is going to be tough. Exact surviving their gulag, and so now they just need to pick up WAG. They do have the cash available, but you have to find a buy station that is not necessarily being watched or on like a rotational pattern for some of these teams.
And these are some of the rotations that we worry about. We're not quite into the middle game yet. It's still early game, but not a lot of cover out here for Scum. You got some sand dunes to maybe prevent long distance fire, but something else to think about too is like you don't have a lot of long distance weapons in people's repertoire, right? Like you don't have your LMG, your custom ones at the very least. I believe according to the rule set, Signal 50 has been eliminated from the kind of weapon pool. You don't got a pot of gold to go get a one-shot sniper rifle. So not a lot of long range weapons that could take you out. When we're talking long range, we're talking 400, 500 meters, but you can still fry people down with ARs, TAC 56 or otherwise, from that medium to medium long.
I'll just mute my mic.
I'll just mute my mic. All right, Scummin, dude. He's hilarious, but unfortunately not gonna win this fight over the sand dune. It's gonna be Believe taking the down and the full elim. Scummin might want to unmute his mic here in the gulag, see what goes on. I don't know.
Here's the thing, Tiff. This is the team that I was talking about. They have very strong trio. I think all of them could do really, really well individually or as a team.
Do you need help?
The problem is what they're talking about right now. The comms and the kind of vibes need to stay high, and this team has a history of getting we'll just say tilted is a good way to put it.
Passionate? I like to prefer them as passionate, right? If you see a little bit of, not necessarily, maybe elevated comms, it's just the passion, the level of competition that these teams clearly have. And Otter Eyes on your screen, we were talking about this team briefly. You can see there's a buyback that just went off. So Otter Eyes going to take to the roof, try to get a good LOS and maybe find some information for Iceman Isaac and Mayapo.
That's a great call out. Height advantage is key. It looks like they're playing a little bit of a slower game, but they do have a sizable amount of people, at least some people around, designating some danger. This will be a fun trio to watch. Iceman Isaac's a very tactical and calculated player and can certainly put up some high kill games, but then picked up the Canadian cousins of Otter Eyes and Mayapo. They have a long history of being the classic third player that you pick up in any trio, and they always make a difference. Both of these two players have played on thousands of different teams. They've played together since they were basically in the womb. This is always a good choice to pick up imbags here.
Players coming back in just on the other side of Hydroelectric. A nice down from Mayapo. That's going to be on Repulse. So the Baka Bros in a little bit of danger here, but I don't think that they're going to be able to push in time. But you've got a teammate that's kind of split towards the other side. You can see Mayapo trying to drop down, maybe looking to grab a full and find information on however many other teammates are available for Repulse's team. Maybe they're all alive. Maybe there's only two. We saw a buyback go off, so it's all about trying to find as much information as you possibly can.
Yeah, it's a fun talking point of, hey, we want kills. Smix has 3 already. That's a great start. This is a kill multiplayer tournament. If you go into the final circle with 1 elimination, you're really not going to score very high. 1 times 2 is 2. You need a lot of elims in order to succeed here. If you play too aggressive, you could lose your life before the multiplier even comes into play. So try to listen into some of their comms as we kind of get into the mid game here of this first map in 6 maps total, Tiff. But good to see Wars back competing. This will be a fun EU squad to watch out for. Decently high ping, but hasn't stopped them in the past from winning.
I mean, I really like their positioning. You take ultimate high ground in Al Mazrah City. If the zone starts to pull this way, you can kind of keep an eye on the teams that are rotating throughout the streets below. It's very tough to get into Al Mazrah City if people are already near the top. You saw Wars picking up that ISO Hemlock. Smixy, the thing is, the call out comes, but the TTK in this game is absolutely insane. So she didn't even have any time to react before she was annihilated.
Yeah, especially if they're not very far off and a couple headshots, the multiplier, you're done before you can react. Luckily, able to give some info. That's the second time we've seen a highly aggressive elimination on screen, and it was the same team back and forth. That was Aydan and FIFA killing Ahsoka. They said they're gonna play aggressive early. They certainly are living up to that mantra. Smixy, great shots over the top. Gonna be coming right back in after eliminating E-baits.
We'll check in with her and see how that goes later. Mutex grabbing a full team wipe onto Team Primrose. Dropping down. Let's see what they're going to get purchasing from the... Ooh. I mean, look, we saw the utilization of recon drones all throughout Warzone history. They just kind of used them. And I think it was, might have been Almond on TBE that really always had a recon drone in pocket.
That's right.
Yeah, I was gonna listen into their comms a little bit just to see what they're gonna go for here.
This is a good building to be on, though. If we all gonna be on one building, it's gonna be this one. Because there's like a million like different angles. I heard that.
That's what I was wondering.
No cluster mines, okay?
This sounds like a team that is going to play a little bit slower here in Al Mazrah City. They want to set up, especially with the way the circle is currently situated, to be in a good position to catch teams trying to rotate it. Speaking of catching teams out in the open, all of a sudden Vortex tries to catch Otterize unawares, but definitely heard that one coming. Otterize just annihilates Vortex, takes one down and cleans it up no problem. But I like that setup, Tiff. Hang out in Al Mazrah City. Get your recon drone to grab everybody coming in. You get a good bird's eye view, if you will, without the perk, and fly around, figure out rotations, and prepare for it.
Yeah, it's something you really have to do. I mean, if you don't have that ultimate high ground, make something of use to yourself. Try to like hang on the low ground, use the drone for information. Mostly this is all about gathering information on your enemies and getting their location before they can get to you. I mean, you saw that man try to sneak up on Otterize. It's just not going to happen. And now we're getting a little bit of that drone POV. Mutex can kind of get live pings and call out for his team.
I'm on height. I might be able to get a pick from up here. Hold on.
Nice.
Are they under the garage? They are.
Great comms.
Don't burn rushes. Don't.
High ground is a great position to be in, but there's a lot of ways you can kind of rat out some of the low ground positions as well.
I don't want to get third party does the thing.
What they're talking about is two major points I wanted to bring up, which is you can play a little bit more aggressive, Tiff, when you still have your gulag, and all three haven't been to gulag yet.
Right here, bro. Right here.
But also they were talking about, hey, you know, somebody can play pretty aggressive, one person stay on top, and we kind of try to smoke them out.
This building's really challenging to push. There's so many different areas in this bridgeway through it, and they talked about third partying, but there's buildings out to your left that have ultimate high ground here, and you can essentially jump off the roof and make a play for a third party if you hear some action going down. So they're trying to play it safely. Jumps coming in now. Mutex wanting to go on the aggression, but I like how they're like doubling back to get with Believe before going in.
Give me a second. Let me see if I can get a streak or
you get a UE or something, that'd be huge.
Oh,
yep, good comms. This is the issue, is that there's you can usually only buy one of any specific item from a buy station. Sometimes they don't have them, so kind of got to do a buy station rotation in order to find UAVs or otherwise. Yeah, they're talking about playing lives, etc. You called out something perfect I wanted to bring back up. It's kind of the information gathering. I always talk about this in Warzone of kind of taking high percentage gunfights and take the gunfights you know you can win, or at least have a higher percentage chance of winning. Anytime you gain information, you're increasing your percentage chance of winning because you have more information than the enemy. You can either educated guess a lot of their rotations or actually know exactly where they are, which gives you a much higher percent likelihood that you actually win that gunfight and you move on from that encounter. So something to keep an eye out and watch out for is how are they gaining information, whether from high ground or aggressive comms or recon drones.
Nice, good PA now. Just need to see if that will connect. Maybe do some initial damage. You can see they're kind of just rotating along the outside of this. Oh, live ping in effect. Mutex looking to close the distance, a little dolphin diving action throughout the road, and this is going to be a good approach for Mutex and his co here.
Lost Intex from behind. Intex was trying to hit, I believe, potentially could have been. Oh yeah, that's Evan on the other side. So this is Repulse's squad who got eliminated early. Goes for the cross, has to throw the smoke. It's caught out open. Worried about the third party. Most likely it's going to be true. A lot of teams trying to set up here in Al Mazrah City, and
two different teams, bro. It was Chrissy and Ev.
Got Joewo, bro.
You're worried about it. Yeah,
that is not two teams you want to have approach. So you know Destroy is around as well. Oki gonna take the win in the gulag against Intex. So now they need to focus on regaining as opposed to being as aggressive as they were. Granted, because this is customs, you need to play your life, and those gulags are gonna be incredibly difficult. You have no idea who you're going up against. But Moonride, you said it best. The Italian squad representing here in our Shamrock Showdown, trying to anchor down this building. I love the LOS, utilizing smokes to kind of anchor off one side and forcing them to go another.
This is going to be a fun team to watch because every team obviously plays different. Every region plays different, but the Italian Demons might have any kind of errant strats up their sleeves that some of the squads haven't seen before. We saw the EU side of things during World Series of Warzone come up with the Garenko strategy that turned out to be the most viable strategy of all time at the end of Caldera. Who knows what they're going to pull out of their sleeves in a fight now underneath their building, but they have high ground, so they've got a decent chance of winning that. We'll come back to that as soon as we can, see if they're able to do that. You know, it's funny, we're just now talking about this, Tiff, because they're on our screen right now. Obviously, Z Colors on your screen, playing with Swagg and Juju Saiyan. And this is a fun conversation point, because this might be one of the first times I've seen Swagg play with a different team than just Booyah or one of the other new squad members. He picked up two demons, two players that certainly could give him some love in a fight. Unfortunately, we're going to see Juju fall there, so we'll see what Colors and Swagg can do together, but...
Look, I mean, they're in a 2v2 situation. Wag was able to grab the trade. They already picked up exact from the other team, so now it's Z Colors and Swagg that need to navigate this specifically well. The buy stations on the other side, so they're not necessarily going to be able to get Juju back. I'm sure that the other team is kind of lying in wait. They want to deny them the ability to buy their teammate back, or they want to get their teammate back as well. But Ken's little drone pilot out here calling out shots for her teammates. Look at them all on the rooftop. A little enemy mark. But we talked about them picking up Braxton and Empathy. Like, let me just tell you, they are absolutely cracked. And they were kind of on the up and up in a sense, as maybe not as popular as some of these other Warzone content creators and competitors. And I feel like their following has just been kind of growing for them. And I would love to see that momentum carry forward. But Ken's is an absolute gem. Like, she has one of the best personalities that I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I had a chance to interview her a while back, and it was really fun to kind of hear her story, her come up, and everything that she's been able to do over the last year or so, or maybe even a couple years at this point with Warzone, and a very prolific winner. I could say competitor, but a prolific winner as well from the tournament side, especially when it comes to co-eds and women tournaments. She is the 2v2 Reaper. Dynamic in a lot of ways, and so we'll see what they're able to do in customs. Like we mentioned before, Braxton and Empathy, this is what they do. Customs is where they live and breathe. Both fantastic players, but they always find much more success in customs than 2v2s, just historically on paper. So a trio that will be fun to watch. They're kind of playing this outer edge, Tiff. It's worth calling out. Like, some teams have already set up inside of the city, some teams have set up deeper inside the zone. And then some squads are playing this kind of outer edge zone rotation, maybe either highly aggressive or were forced out of the rotation they wanted by another team, or having to do a larger wrap. You can see, of course, this is Blade on your screen. Blade's team's already been eliminated, so they are watching the kind of team to beat, at least on paper from an earnings perspective, beat the kill Aydan and Ahsoka, who are still playing on the outside of circle in a fight, and they've kind of been in a fight every single second we've seen this squad here, Tiff.
Yeah, they went on that early aggressive push and then just kind of never stopped. It's like they are the Terminators of this lobby, looking to essentially evict every single person in their nearby area. And they are electing to use those recon drones as well. You can see calling out every single person, throwing it in kind of the thermal mode. And I mean, look, all I think about when I see someone inside a drone is they're just laying inside a building somewhere, just vibing. And no one's going to just walk up and see them just droning it out. But Soka now on the move, blowing some things up.
Yeah, look, you gotta shoot all the other drones. You're the drone strat. Yeah, don't let anybody else use your strategy here, Soak. He's gonna be able to take out a drone out of the air. Looks like we've lost FIFA kill in the process, but FIFA hasn't been to the gulag yet, from what I can tell, which is just now closing. Should be able to come out probably at the end of this timer, which is a good 45 seconds or so without FIFA. Not sure he'll find a fight, potentially. Hopefully he can win that and come back in. Grabbing those gulag kills can be crucial to your overall score.
Might be able to rotate a Z.
I'm gonna take this.
Looks like WAG squad might be taking some pot shots out to the outer edge of the zone as well.
One going right under you right now.
Oh, I see, like top white, yeah.
They were able to regain and get exact back up in the lobby. I know he was dropped at one point, but comms flowing. I mean, they sound like they are in sync right now, despite from getting dropped from Moonrise. Yeah, dude, that's not even expected. That's the hard part of trying to play a high ground, right? If you're like engaged in a fight, all someone has to do nearby is just look over to your rooftop and just pop you.
But, you know, it's funny. We'll talk about it in just a second because I don't want to miss this action here, too. This is it's out of nowhere. Sean J. got into this tournament kind of last second. Picked up Robstar. It was a wonder kid. I mean, this is a huge tournament competitor, especially kind of from a long-standing, kind of endemic to the Warzone scene since Verdansk. And then Nate is their third. Trio certainly could make some waves, but they are in quite a bit of trouble right now because you can look. They do have a rotation out as long as they can get over the sand dune without too much trouble, which looks like they're able to and kind of hug the edge of this zone. The skinny side actually works out well for them, but if that team didn't have some covering fire laid down on them, they could have been picked off as they crested that first dune.
Let me see if I can see.
Wars, Crimson, Prodigy, rotating. It seems like they're almost mirroring Sean J and Robstar. They're kind of rotating around the same outskirts, right? Just trying to make their way a little bit in. You've kind of got this like oil device in front of them and they want to play it safe. You want to keep out of LOS from the main buildings because you know people are already going to be there. We're down to 13 squads. 27 people left in the lobby, but Wars only has 1 elimination, but checking every corner, and I really like that because you never know if someone's just kind of nestled in there. Now, granted, 53 seconds left on that for 5th ring, and Gulag is officially closed, so you're donezo there.
Good rotation. It is worth pulling up and kind of mentioning our kill multipliers again. Everybody is now going to be achieving at least some level of multipliers right now. Inside the top 15 means that you're scoring 1.1x on your overall kills. Could certainly help in the long run. As we get into the top 10, that will, of course, increase to 1.25 and so on and so forth. So something to keep an eye out for is, hey, do we need to stay still? And, well, you can't hang out and stay still there because Robstar is going to pick you off. Looks like Wars was maybe trying to hunt down Sean's team, and Rob's going to be able to grab a pick in the process, and nobody's there to back up Wars. Down to 2 players.
See, that's what's tough. I told you they were mirroring their rotation kind of, and as soon as like Sean J and Robstar kind of figured that out, of course they were going to have the upper hand because they're not going to be out in the open anymore. But on your screen, this is Miray's team captain and their duo that they picked up, and they're just holding high ground now. They know there's a team that was trying to get a loadout just on the outskirts of the ring behind them, but just staying up, playing stealthily. Nice. You can see good knock right there. Now you got to find the second.
Come on, almost grabs the 2-piece. Can't tell who that was, but a great take. 2 teammates still alive, and I believe a little bit deeper inside the zone. Some comms. You got Mirai trying to play the cover across here. Not inside the zone. They're actually right on the edge of the red. They're going to have to cross out in the open, so they're going to try to clear out some room for them.
Up late and probably get a few kills. There's a lot of people
in the comms from Nate. Sounds like Nate and Rob both.
Look how many people are left. There's a lot of solos and
duos. EU players here.
Where on the caravan?
Sean's getting some comms as well.
Right
I like this prone spot, Tiff. You've got kind of half cover to your left. How unfortunately Sean's gonna get picked off on the rotation. Tries to get the cover. Rob's gonna have to just avoid combat and try to get inside the top 10. There's 11 teams left. 1.1 to 1.25 is a pretty sizable jump. Rob's just gotta play his life. That's tough.
Yeah, Sean J picked off by Prodigy does have that gas mask available to them, albeit not a durable. So looking for a gas rotation behind the team that he was just going up against. So now you have to play this so strategic. Does have 3 eliminations, but there are only 12 people left in the lobby. And now that you've kind of essentially given away your location, there's no real reason for you to go ahead and re-peek that. Just focus on getting to that next circle and conserving resources. Has 0 plates left. So Robstar is literally just hugging this tree for his life.
Yeah, it's a great shout, though, because there's 12 players left. 8 teams. Now 7 teams, 11 players. A lot of solos and duos. If you've got player advantage, you've got to be feeling amazing right now. And if you have that last bit of cover, the last building advantage, you're going to be feeling incredible. We're out in the open here, Rob. Hang on to his life as long as you can. Tommy's finding an elimination with a pistol from distance because Rob doesn't have a single plate. Talk about player advantage. Hello. Shout out to production. Skullface. Honey Mustard, which is going to be Breadman, and Joewo all alive. their entire team of 3. Joe's on 6. Tiff, this could be the litmus test. This could be the metric of success that all the rest of the teams are going to be going for should they continue going into the top 5.
Look, Breadman said it was time to get crispity crunchity earlier today, and I feel like they are just absolutely flowing, able to grab a knock onto Tommy. So they have found one of the other members, and look at this, deployable covers. Do you know how many times we've seen this come in absolute clutch for these open areas? They're just essentially firing straight in to the last building, but they just have to walk out. Now the question is, where is that zone going to essentially pull towards? Who has to make the move first?
I love the counter UAV play here too. It's going to scramble any information you have, scramble the zone. Now, can't set up early, but they should have time. They're going to rotate slightly. There's the line. Counter UAV gone. 4 teams left, Tiff, and the team of 3 on your screen, which means I believe the rest are going to be solos, or at least close to it. It's a 3v1. This team should take it, no problem. They don't have the zone prio, but it's not going to matter. Skullface taking lead aggressor, peeks over the wall, finds the opponent. No problem at all. Prims are gone, and a massive game netted for Loafwo plus Skull. That is going to be a 15-point game, 15-kill game, doubled.
No, the one thing.
No, wait, 13. I'm good at math.
I was like, oh my God, Ghost. Don't throw me like that, bro. We're just in map number 1. I was like, don't ever tease your casters about doing math. I'm like, bro, it literally says 13. You're like, 15. And I was like, okay, this is how it's gonna go. But congratulations to Skullface, Joewo, and Breadman, aka Honey Mustard, out here sweeping the lobby. And maybe you can go get some chicken nuggies and some honey mustard to celebrate this map 1 victory.
Oh, that was so funny. Oh man, I'm trying to do all the math and it literally does it for me on broadcast, and I still mess it up. I am here for that. Joe talking about some maybe weapon choices they can swap up. If I'm Joewo, I'm not swapping anything up, Tiff. That is a fantastic round 1 for the trio. Again, bringing in Skullface kind of not out of nowhere, as Skullface is a prolific, Warzone player. 1 World Series of Warzone with Ahsoka squad. So, somebody that would be a great pickup. Hasn't played the game in a while and seemingly is nothing lost, nothing gained.
Yeah.
Right back to where they started, winning map number 1. 26-point game seemingly is kind of that metric that everybody's going to be standing up to and saying, okay, can we drop a 20-point game like our first place winners in map number 1?